Crazy dark web stories involving Bitcoin, Ethereum, cryptocurrency. Hello lovely YouTube family! Welcome back to Reality Binge. In today's videos, we're going to talk about crazy dark web stories involving Bitcoin, Ethereum, cryptocurrency. Before we start, I would like you to hit that red subscribe button so that you never miss out on any of our videos. The dark web is notorious for websites that host downright outrageous content, which can just push the boundaries of any person. When you hear the word dark web, you regularly associate it with crime and medicines, but some places on the dark web can become an Amazon for the network. You may possibly be confused on why you'd want to shop for something from the dark web, albeit it's legal. Why do this when it sounds sketchy and you'll use a site like Amazon to shop for goods from? The answer there too is basically for private preference. Some people like being on the dark web a bit and would rather buy from there. Other people won't be during an edge to use conventional e-commerce sites in their country. In many cases, countries don't allow citizens to travel on certain websites. But with Tor, you won't be blocked, and this leads many to buy for on there. Don't even consider Googling dark web, or maybe try downloading and accessing the Tor browser, because the instant you are doing that, you're being tracked, hooked, and watched upon. And being tracked or hooked or watched is creepy, and no one wants that. Imagine a psycho watching you right now, through your phone screen. Your sloppy Bitcoin drug deals will haunt you for years. Perhaps you bought some illegal narcotics on the Silk Road half a decade ago, back when that digital black marketplace for each contraband imaginable was still online and bustling. You might already regret that call for any number of reasons. After all, the 4 Bitcoins you spent there on bag of hallucinogenic mushrooms would now be worth about the utmost amount as an Alfa Romeo. But one group of researchers wants to remind you of yet another reason to rue that transaction. If you weren't particularly careful in how you spent your cryptocurrency, the evidence of that drug deal should be hanging around in plain view of enforcement, even years after the Silk Road was torn off the dark web. Researchers at Qatar University, and therefore the country's Hamad bin Khalifa University earlier in the week published findings that showed just how easy it's going to be to drag up evidence of years-old Bitcoin transactions when spenders didn't carefully launder their payments. In over 100 cases, they could connect someone's Bitcoin payment on a dark website to that person's public account. In more than 20 instances, they say they could easily link those public accounts to transactions specifically on the Silk Road, finding even some purchasers' specific names and locations. The retroactive operational security of Bitcoin is low, says Qatar University researcher Yusam Al-Jawahiri. When things are recorded within the blockchain, you'll return to history and reveal this information to interrupt the anonymity of users. Bitcoin's privacy paradox has long been understood by its savvier users. Because the cryptocurrency isn't controlled by any bank or government, it is often very difficult to link anyone's real-world identity with their Bitcoin stash. But the general public ledger of Bitcoin transactions, referred to as the blockchain, also is a record of each Bitcoin transaction from one address to a different. Finding someone's address and discovering who they're sending money to or receiving it from becomes trivial, unless the spender takes pains to route those transactions through intermediary addresses or laundering services that obscure the payment's origin and destination. The retroactive operational security of Bitcoin is low. Yusam Al-Jawahiri, Qatar University. But few, if any, researchers have actually documented their work to require advantage of these properties of Bitcoin and count identifiable dark web transactions. To do so, the Qatari researchers first collected dozens of Bitcoin addresses used for donations and deal-making by websites protected by the anonymity software Tor, passed by everyone from WikiLeaks to the now-defunct Silk Road. Then they scraped thousands of more widely visible Bitcoin addresses from the overall public accounts of users on Twitter, and thus the favored Bitcoin forum Bitcoin Talk. By merely finding direct links between those two sets of addresses within the blockchain, they found quite 125 transactions made to those dark websites' accounts, very likely with the intention of preserving the sender's anonymity, that they could easily link to public accounts. Among those, 46 were donations to WikiLeaks. More disturbingly, 22 were payments to the Silk Road. Though they do not reveal many personal details of these 22 individuals, the researchers say that some had publicly revealed their locations, ages, genders, email addresses, or maybe full names, and thus the 18 people whose Silk Road transactions were linked to Bitcoin talk may be particularly vulnerable, since that forum has previously skilled subpoenas demanding that it unmask a user's registration details or private messages. You have irrefutable evidence mapping this profile to this hidden service, says Yazan Bachmath, another of the study's authors. If you're vulnerable now, you're vulnerable within the future. Yazan Bachmath, Kedar Computing Research Institute. Law enforcement has shown that it's willing to probe the blockchain to assemble evidence of past criminal transactions. In the case of convicted Silk Road founder Ross Ulbricht, as an example, an FBI contractor demonstrated to a jury that $13.4 million in Bitcoin had at one point moved from the Silk Road servers to Ulbricht's laptop. And even years-old dark web transactions aren't safe from prosecution. One German Silk Road customer was fined 3,000 euros by German authorities after they busted a marijuana dealer who'd kept records of his past sales, years after they had occurred. Events like those have helped make cryptocurrency users increasingly wary of Bitcoin's privacy pitfalls. Earlier this month, cryptocurrency research firm Chainalysis noted that dark web transactions now account for less than 1/100th of Bitcoin transactions, down from 30% in 2012. Contraband sales, like other illegal applications of cryptocurrency, including ransomware, have largely switched to newer digital currencies like Monero and Zcash, both of which promise far greater privacy by default. Ethereum cybercrime revenue in millions. Bitcoin is made on the blockchain, a public record of all transactions available online. Users also need a public address of numbers and letters so as to receive payments. As a result, intelligence agencies can track the movement of funds to addresses that hackers provide and catch the criminals once they attempt to live through more regulated entities, such as exchanges or banks. Jonathan Levin, co-founder of blockchain analytics firm Chainalysis, noted that recent enforcement crackdowns have made a dent within the trust in dark web markets, where people primarily use cryptocurrencies for payment. On July 20, the U.S. Justice Department and Europol announced the closure of two of the most important dark web marketplaces, Alpha Bay and Hansa, which listed tens of thousands of vendors selling illegal drugs, counterfeit identification documents, and other illicit products. The DOJ said Alpha Bay transactions use Bitcoin, Monero, and Etherium, while Europol estimated a minimum of $1 billion in transactions on Alpha Bay since its launch in 2014. A few days later, a jury within the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of California charged Russian national Alexander Vinnik, and therefore the digital currency exchange he allegedly operated, BTCE, with concealment and related crimes. Once a significant exchange, the BTCE website now shows it's been seized by U.S. authorities. Screenshot of BTCE landing page. We're getting tons better through enforcement tracking those and holding the exchanges more accountable, the Homeland Security official said. I think tons more legitimate than people provided credit for. The average number of daily Bitcoin transactions has climbed to 224,000 thus far this month from around 206,000 last August, consistent with data from the blockchain website. Daily trade volume in Bitcoin has multiplied rapidly within the last year, climbing to a mean of $2 billion thus far this month from a mean $86.7 million last August, according to CoinMarketCap data. Bitcoin has quite quadrupled in value this year, to get a record high of quite $4,700 on Tuesday. Are you still interested in exploring the dark web? Let me know in the comment section. If you are thinking about exploring, please stay safe. That's all for today. I hope you liked the video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so that you never miss any amazing video from us.